Welcome to Sky Intruders, your next lab for AP Computer Science. For this lab, you can build the sample that we have, or you can actually build any game of your design. That's a classic arcade 2D shooter type game, but it needs to just provide the requirement, satisfy the requirements that are stipulated in the instructions. So let's just go through this game so you can see how ours works. So we're going to hit reset and hit run. And here we go. So we have little UFOs are coming. When I hit the space bar, it'll fire. And my goal is to keep the UFOs from getting all the way down to Earth. You'll notice that there's a countdown timer, so I cannot reload multiple times. I cannot fire multiple times. I need to wait until the reload finishes. And I believe that is 5 act cycles. But again, that design is up to you. I win if I prevent them from invading the Earth before time runs out. The game gets faster as the UFOs move down lower, and eventually I'll lose. If I fire and miss, I will lose a point. So if a bullet hits the top of the screen, I'll lose a point. If I fire and hit a UFO, the UFO is removed, and I gain 10 points. So I just want to talk through the different classes. We're not going to show you the code. Let's talk about the ship. During the act cycle, it's just going to check whether the key is being pressed, move left or right. If the space bar is pressed, it's going to try to fire, except it won't fire if the gun is reloading, and so you'll then need to manage the reload time as well. So every time act runs, you're going to need to manage the reload time. At the same time, that reload timer is going to need to keep track of displaying that reloading message in the middle of the page. And then you'll need to figure out if the game is over, and that could be done, I guess, in this class or in the UFO class if contact is made between the ship and the UFO. The UFO is interesting. It begins at the top. It's going to have a random X speed, and then there's going to be a little randomness in terms of when it goes down and so forth. So it's going to travel left and right. And you can decide when it goes down and how far it goes down and so forth. And just make sure it bounces left and right? So whenever it hits the left side, it has to bounce right in some way. Whenever it hits the right side, it bounces in some way. The bullet is caused whenever we hit the space bar, and it'll just have a y velocity, right? It's just going to be moving upwards. It's going to have the same x position as the ship, and then if it ever hits a UFO, we score 10 points, and the UFO is removed. If it ever gets to the edge of the screen, the top edge of the screen, it will be removed, and we lose a point. And finally, in the world, there's a lot going on here. You have the timer that you need to keep track of on the bottom left, and that's going to start with a very large number. You have the score, similar to what we did with the white blood cell. Needs to be tracked here, and we put it down the bottom right side. It's going to periodically add new UFOs, and so you can decide how frequently UFOs are added. It's kind of nice as every time the player shoots a UFO that the game gets harder, so you can have some number that will increase the frequency that UFOs appear or the speed of the UFOs on the board based upon that increasing value in the world. So good luck. Again, you don't need to build this one exactly. You could build your own 2D shooter game, but this is just a sample of what you could do.